benefiting from increased adoption in a more quantitative, systematic way than having a punt on what will happen to the technology in the future?
Jordan.
Yeah, I would say, risk adjusted ultimately, from the trend. Naturally, market neutral has been the largest allocation that we see from family offices. But that said, it's a full spectrum, from pre-seed, seed, we look at extensively, and are allocating. I think crypto still presents the best asymmetric bet. I think if we look at some of the other sectors, AI, private credit as an example, valuation is a big factor here, and liquidity. And I think what you can still get from the crypto markets, again through various different types of expression, is liquidity with that asymmetric upside. And that is very powerful, and particularly when liquidity, I would say right now is it's a premium. We have obviously a lot of geopolitical things going on in the world, and having liquidity, being able to move quickly and realize some of those investments is, I think, very powerful.
Do you think that
All right, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another Wealth 28 Club podcast. I thought that I'd start today's episode off with that little tiny clip from the Digital Assets Forum Summit that took place just a couple of weeks ago. Considering the risk-off backdrop that we've all experienced over the past couple of months, since October of last year, the market shedding over $2 trillion in value. Here you have a gentleman from a digital asset investment firm that manages billions of dollars go on to mention that he still believes that crypto still presents the best asymmetric opportunity. And so these are some of the video clips that the mainstream media will never share with you guys. So, as always, just keeping it real with you guys, keeping you on the loop. These institutional investors that want to allocate to this space are still super bullish. There's nothing wrong with the underlying technology. We're just in a risk-off backdrop, as he mentioned, and all that, in my personal opinion, is set to be temporary in the coming months, maybe / years ahead, depending on when all of it gets flipped behind us. But outside of that, Aqua, bro, what's going on, man? Are you good to unmute?
Yes, sir. How you living, bro?
I'm good, brother. What's up with you, man? How's your day going?
Going good. Had another great day trading this sunrise. So yeah, great Friday.
Phenomenal.
How about yourself?
I can't complain, man. It's been a productive day. I want to go over. I want to get started because I know that your daughter's birthday is today, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, bro. But yeah, let's jump into some of the fundamental pieces that I have today. I want to kind of touch on a post that I put, and something that I think you're going to really like that I share with you about the number 33 and how it correlates to Canton's ticker symbol. So I'll start off the podcast here because I have so many people message me and comment and say, oh, you've only covered Canton lately. You don't really talk about XRP anymore, this, and that. So I thought I'd kind of really try to explain for you all why, and why as an XRP holder after 10 years, I started to really heavily pay attention to Canton. Now, this isn't the only reason, but just something that the XRP army and the XRP community can relate to, right? Coming directly from Ripple themselves. So I said here in this post, let me zoom in a little bit. I said, as an XRP holder for 10 years, I pay attention to infrastructure. So why do I hold both Canton and XRP? Many have asked. Pay very close attention. In April 2025, Ripple acquires Hidden Road, now obviously, of course, rebranded to Ripple Prime. In August 2025, Hidden Road participates in a live on-chain U.S. Treasury financing transaction on the Canton network. And anybody can go and look this up. Here is that fundamental piece here, August 12th, 2025. More specifically, outside of just the Canton's website, you can even go look at this posted directly from TradeWeb. It says, Digital Asset in collaboration with a consortium of leading financial institutions today announced the successful completion of a groundbreaking transaction on the Canton network, marking a first enabling real-time, fully on-chain financing of U.S. Treasuries against USDC. Members of the working group focused on advancing on-chain initiatives included Hidden Road, The milestone marks a foundational step towards building capital markets where high quality liquid assets such as US Treasuries are available and usable on and at all times. Always on and usable at all times, regardless of traditional market hours or legacy settlement constraints. By unlocking real time financing and 24/7 collateral mobility, it enhances utility and drives the evolution of markets towards greater efficiency and accessibility. In addition, it will combine the strengths of traditional and crypto markets, preparing institutional trust and scale with the flexibility and programmability of DeFi. The Canton Network's global collateral network will provide the foundation for this unified market structure, enabling seamless movement of real world assets across a new global digital financial system. And so it says here Hidden Road used USDC and it was minted and redeemed on the Canton Network specifically to demonstrate this use case while supporting near instant liquidity and atomic settlement. So back to my post, August 2025, Hidden Road participated in live on-chain US Treasury financing transactions on Canton Network. That means a Ripple-owned prime broker used Canton Network rails for institutional collateral movement. If you fast forward to early 2026, Ripple Prime became an early adopter of BNY's global tokenized deposit services. And you can see that down here in the screenshots. Noel Kimmel, president of Ripple Prime, said, as more traditional financial institutions move into digital native services in 2026, BNY is staying ahead of the curve, bringing digital assets directly into the banking system. We're proud to expand our long-standing strategic collaboration and now as an early adopter of BNY's tokenized deposit services through its digital asset platform, cash flow management, and liquidity optimization, right? So BNY and their tokenization solution, we know, connects to Goldman Sachs GSDAP, right? You can see that right here. It says, BNY will employ blockchain technology developed by Goldman Sachs to maintain a record of customer ownership of select money market funds. This combined solution marks the first time in the US that the fund managers have enabled subscription for shares of their money market funds via BNY's Liquidity Direct and digital asset platform, the corresponding value of which will be represented through the tokenization utilizing GSDAP. BNY's digital asset platform mirrors tokens of the money market fund shares created utilizing GSDAP. And we know GSDAP runs natively on the Canton Network. So now we have two separate instances, Hidden Road, then now rebranded to Ripple Prime, we know is owned by Ripple, using Canton infrastructure for institutional repo, and Ripple Prime using BNY's tokenized deposits powered by GSDAP, which also runs on Canton. So as an XRP holder, I cannot ignore that Ripple has now interacted with Canton infrastructure more than once. Once would be a coincidence, but twice, that is purpose-driven and intentional. Now, this doesn't mean that Ripple is abandoning the XRP ledger. It just simply means that institutional finance is becoming interoperable. It means Ripple is ready to operate in a multi-chain world, and it tells me that the biggest players are quietly aligning infrastructure behind the scenes. When Wall Street builds, I personally watch where they build, and Ripple with Canton underneath keeps showing up. So, in a nutshell, that is why I'm paying attention to both Canton and XRP. So, hope you guys enjoyed that post today, breaking that down for you guys, showing you guys how Ripple indirectly has used Canton's infrastructure twice now, right? And nobody's going to touch on this, nobody's going to cover this or break it down, but the devil's in the details. And if you just read into the fundamentals and look at who participated in these things, it's clear as day that Ripple-owned organizations and companies have used Canton Network, which is insane, right? It's like indirect confirmation almost. Ripple confirming that Canton's technology works. Why else would they use it?
Yeah, that's straight facts, bro. Straight facts.
So that was interesting to see, right? Just an interesting post that I put out this rising. Coming over here to the most recent development from the CFTC involving both Ripple and, again, indirectly, Canton Network and digital asset. So I've seen a lot of people posting about this mentioning that Brad Garlinghouse got picked for the CFTC Commodity Futures Trading Commission, announced the members of the Innovation Advisory Committee. And that is true, right? So it says today marks an important, energizing moment at the CFTC as the Innovation Advisory Committee takes shape. Chairman Michael Salige said the IAC's work will help ensure the CFTC's decision reflect market realities so the agency can future-proof its markets and develop clear rules of the road for the golden age of American financial markets. And then it has this long list of all the people chosen for this IAC. You got Uniswap Labs, Coinbase now, a Canton validator, Operations Clearing Corporation, Rothara Markets, Polymarket representative. It goes on, right? And you got, obviously, of course, Adina Friedman, CEO of NASDAQ. We know NASDAQ, Canton validator. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. And remember how I told you guys just in the previous post, it's always Ripple, and then underlying, you can see Canton right underneath. You got the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. We obviously, of course, know the announcement in December 2025 with Canton and the DTCC. Crypto.com, Canton validator, right? Anchorage, Grayscale, Chainlink Labs, Canton validator, and obviously, of course, Canton partner. ISDA, same thing, has participated in Canton Network pilots. We have LSEG, same thing, Canton Network partner, pilots. Blockchain.com, Frameworks Ventures, and it goes on. But what I want you guys to pay very close attention to down here is something that Aqua has highlighted multiple times before. And I don't think that this is by accident, because think about it. If Aqua, you want to share your screen on that one post that you made about the Canton ticker symbol equating to the number 33, I want to bring that up real quick.
Yeah, let me find it real quick here. Hold on, give me a second.
So while Aqua is bringing that up to the stage, okay, I'm going to play a video clip, because look at who's on this list from the CFTC. And this gentleman, CEO of DRW, Don Wilson, and his number just so happens to be the number 33. Okay. They could have, now this list is not in alphabetical order, mind you. Okay. This list is completely randomized. They could have put this man's number in any order. They could have put him number 1, 27, 35, any number. They put him at number 33. Okay. And Aqua has pointed out that the ticker symbol for Canton coin equates to the number 33. C being the third letter in the alphabet, CC equals 33, right? Well, I don't know if you found that post, Aqua, just so that way people can see that you brought that to everybody's attention.
Yeah, I'm almost there. I post so much and repost so much. So hold on, I'm almost there though. Hold on.
Well, while you're looking for that, I want to come over here. Why this is so important. Okay, this gentleman, Don Wilson, being on the CFTC, Commodity Futures Trading Commission, IAC committee, is not only that his number, like coincidentally, right, because we're on the theory of coincidences on today's episode, is the number 33. Oh, here it goes. Let me bring this up the stage real quick before I play the video. Okay, so what did Aqua say here? CC equals the number 33. When was this? This was January, what, 28th? That you posted this? I can't see. It's kind of small.
January 28th. Yeah, January 28th.
January 28th that you posted this, right? So I just don't find it that it's coincidental at all. And then this dude, Don Wilson, CEO, DRW, number 33, okay? And if we go back to a podcast that he was on 2 weeks ago with ARK Invest, titled Tokenization of U.S. Treasuries with Don Wilson, listen to what he says about Canton Network.
Clear as you talk. But what's interesting is that DTCC, as I understand it, is not only using Canton, it has joined the Canton Foundation as co-chair with Euroclear. So that seems like a big deal.
That is a big deal. Yes, I mean, it's not hard to read the tea leaves there. That DTCC sees this as a very important chain and one that they want to really lean in on.
Right. And it seems like DTCC believes that that Canton could become the default institutional RWA real world asset network. Is that what we can glean from this?
I mean, that's my interpretation of it. And by the way, it's also, what I believe. I think that Canton is best positioned to achieve that.
Just a little bit of a jog here. One of the criticisms.
I think that Canton Network is best positioned to be the underlying infrastructure and foundational technology structure for real world asset tokenization. And Don Wilson is the gentleman that said that. He's the gentleman that got picked by the CFTC and is just coincidentally his number for the CFTC right here is 33, which equals Canton coin. Like,
Yeah, bro. Not a coincidence in my opinion. So
I personally don't believe in coincidences. I'm not really into the whole like numerology, price prediction, bullcrap stuff, but I just, it's to the point now where the devil's in the details. You just can't make this stuff up.
yeah. No doubt. I mean, yeah. The number 33 goes back. So for it to be embedded into this new system, I can definitely see that ticker, top 5, just because of that. And yeah, we won't dive down that rabbit hole, but I'm definitely into all that numerology set, not the price prediction side of it, but yeah, definitely I dive into it, and a lot of it will blow your mind. So
I just think the way that I see it is they could have picked him as any number.
yeah.
You know,
100.
why,
Yeah.
why did they pick him at 33?
Yeah.
So very interesting. All right, rolling over into the second portion of some fundamentals that have recently came out this week that just go to show the depth of Canton Network. Some influencers, I believe, I want to get his name correct, King Solomon. I don't remember what his ticker is on, or his handle is on X. King Solomon, I think it's OVO Al or something like that. But shout out to him for some of the fundamentals here, because I'm pretty sure he made a good detailistic video of the HSBC and Orion announcement the other day. But I want to get into that a little bit more, because I found something else that just goes to show that Canton's just a lot deeper embedded into the system and has been for years, more so than a lot of people know, even myself, because I just came across this. But we'll get to that here in just a second. So I want to start with the Standard Chartered fundamental that came out February 11th, 2026. And it says Standard Charter and B2C2 partnered to expand institutional access to digital assets. Now, just keep in the back of your mind that Standard Charter is one of the banks that backed Zoidia Custody. Okay, so now you have Standard Charter and B2C2 expanding institutional access to digital assets. So it says Standard Charter and B2C2, a global leader in institutional liquidity for digital assets, announced a strategic partnership to enhance institutional access to digital asset markets. The collaboration combines Standard Charter's global banking infrastructure with B2C2's deep crypto liquidity across spot and options markets. B2C2 will offer its institutional client base, including asset managers, hedge funds, corporates, and family offices. Mind you, I played the clip at the very beginning of the gentleman sitting on stage with family offices saying that he thinks that, the best returns, asymmetric returns, are going to be crypto still, right? Keep that in mind. Future direct connectivity and liquidity provisions to Standard Charter's network of banking rails and real-world asset classes settlement facilities. The partnership aims to deliver best-in-class client experience by combining regulated banking services with institutional-grade crypto liquidity. And so if we come over here, this is from 6 months ago. B2C2 is proud to join the Canton Network. Interesting. As a liquidity provider for its on-chain collateral mobility initiative. Okay, so Canton Network is collaborating with B2C2. And if we come over here, we know last year as well, Zoidia Custody, the institution first grade asset platform backed by Standard Charter, also announces custody support for Canton Coin. If we come over here directly to the announcement from Zoidia Custody themselves, it says here, Zodia Custody, the institutional digital asset platform, today announced that it is the first banked-backed custodian to offer custody support for Canton Coin. And then, so more recently, this is 2025. Then recently, we have a partner of Canton and a partner of Canton doing what? Announcing institutional access to digital assets. So this just goes to show that Canton is going to be one of those digital assets that is offered to these financial institutions. And I personally think that it should not be ignored, right?
I have a question for you, bro. And you may not know it, but is there another chain out there, like another project that has this, like this is like just as many super validators as Canton Network does when it comes to institutional adoption that we're aware of?
Super validators, no, but validators, yeah, I believe so. I believe Solana has like, I don't know, maybe
Okay.
800, maybe 900 validators. I don't know off the top of my head the correct number, but I'm pretty sure Solana has a shit ton of validators too. But super
Okay.
validators, bro, super validators, I think Canton only has, I don't know, like 42 or something super validators. Yeah, so you can see here, this is from the TIE. And the total number of validators they have, 750. The amount of super validators, which is separate from the validators themselves, is
Right.
42.
And the super validators is what you were listing, B2C2, and all those other big names. And
I
that,
don't know.
that gives them,
Let's see.
and this gives them the ability to build, right? That's the difference between a super validator and a validator. The super validators can build on the Canton network.
Yeah, I would if I'm going to talk about the difference between the super validator and the validator, I'd like to read it directly from the document so I don't get anything mixed up. But yes, there is
I
a
hear
slight
you.
there's a slight difference. And I don't
Right.
know if B2C2 is a super validator or a just a validator. I'd have to go onto there. Actually, as a matter of fact, you know what? Let me
It'll
just go
probably show us on that graph, you know?
I'm gonna go over to their ecosystem website real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe let's see if it's on here. No, give me a second. Let me go
Yeah,
to their
no, take your
ecosystem website. It'll take me 2 seconds. No, they're not.
Santander's on there?
Yeah, bro. There's this list of validators and super validators is insane. They're not a super validator though. They're just a validator. It says it
Validator.
here.
Okay. Okay.
But still, nonetheless, bro, I just think that
It's
this is
massive.
crazy that
Yeah.
Zodia Custody Standard Charter is providing institutional access and support for Canton Coin, which just, in my personal opinion, the reason I guess why I'm showing this is that it goes to show that Canton Coin meets the regulatory threshold and requirement for institutions to be comfortable enough to act to offer it to their institutional clients.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that Solana is, up there with validators as well. I mean, I think that speaks loudly too. I mean, I'm not a holder of Solana or anything, but just the price action on Solana since 2023 till now, a lot of people made some money. So
I don't really pay attention too much to the Solana ecosystem, if I'm being completely honest. I hold a little bit of Solana, but not enough to be like super freaking confident enough to talk about it and shit. I just use it in the DeFi ecosystem for real. So this is the post that I was talking about that King Salomon OVO Al. I don't remember off the top of my head his handle, his ticker, but just shout out to him because he made a really great video on this the other day. So I want to give credit where credit's due. But this fundamental led me down a rabbit hole to another organization that sits on top of Canton architecture that is just super embedded into traditional finance. So I want to just touch on that real quick. Right. So this is posted from Cointelegraph. I'm sure you guys have seen this, and you guys have probably seen a lot of speculation on how this is connected to, the XRP ledger, or it's connected to like Quant, which are both true to some extent. There are indirect and direct connections, but nonetheless, this HSBC Orion sits directly on top of Canton architecture. And that is a fact. And that was confirmed, in my opinion, by this repost. So if we come over here, we know this gentleman, Melvis, right? He's the executive director of the Canton Foundation. And he reposted this directly. This is a post from hypebeast.eth. And he said HSBC Canton Network, HSBC blockchain platform is called Orion. Orion is built on top of Canton Network. And the director of the Canton Foundation reposted that. All right. So that's like confirmation directly from the Canton Foundation executive director that it does exactly what it says. It's on top of Canton. You can even come over to the Canton website yourself where it says here, HKMA is a foundation member and uses Canton Network applications. What are these Canton Network applications? GSDAP, which we talked about in the first portion of the video breakdown today, and HSBC Orion, right? So these are Canton Network applications. Now, what I found interesting about this is that when I went over to go and kind of like research on this a little bit, I came over to this Figment piece here, right? We know Figment is a validator on the Canton Network, but I found this part very interesting, and it's this organization. I mean, it says here Canton Powered Solutions, specifically HSBC's Orion. So there's just more confirmation that, you know, this HSBC platform that is being chosen for the UK blockchain platform for the pilot issuance of the country's digital gilt infrastructure sits on top of Canton, right? But coming back to this Figment piece, it says here at the top, Versana is currently using Canton to automate lifecycle management of trillions of dollars worth of syndicate loans. So I was like, hold up, I'm not even here on this Figment website for this piece, but that is crazy to just read, right? So I went in a little bit more in detail into this. And so if we come over here to the Versana platform, look at how just crazy this is, y'all. So again, remember, this is verbal confirmation. It says Versana is currently using Canton to automate lifecycle management of trillions of dollars worth of syndicated loans. Okay, this is not billions, trillions. So imagine what happens when all of this really picks up. Let me show you some of these names here. So if you come over to the Versana website, they talk about, this is a little tiny video. You guys can play it. I'm not going to play it because it has some background music. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but it talks about growing into an $8 trillion market, right? And then it goes on to talk about who's using this platform, Versana. Okay, you got Bank Corp, Wells Fargo, Barclays. Mind you, again, remember, this sits on top of Canton. Okay, LMA. Let's keep going. You got Bank of America, right? Citi. Look how crazy this is. Citibank, Deutsche Bank. Pretty sure JP Morgan, whom we know partner with Canton Network, right? The LSTA, right? Look how freaking crazy this list is. So then we come over here, and I was just looking a little bit more into some general articles from like Cointelegraph and Coindesk, see if they touched on this, and they did. And it says right here, what is Versana backed by? Mind you, again, Versana, according to this Figment piece, says is currently using Canton Network's technology to automate lifecycle management for trillions of dollars. And here it mentions Versana is backed by JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, and now has 7 global banks sharing syndicate loan data, with Goldman Sachs DAP supporting the tokenized bond issuance. Y'all, look at this. Goldman Sachs DAP. And if we go back to the original start of today's call, remember this. Goldman Sachs DAP sits natively on Canton Network, right? So this is super embedded into the Canton infrastructure. And so I went back and I looked at when this was founded and launched, right? Look at this. Check this out. This just goes to show more synchronicity that Canton has literally been flying under the radar for years, y'all. Years. And now it's just now starting to hit the headlines. Okay, check this out. It says, Versana, funded by top global banks, launches to transform the $5 trillion syndicate loan market. This is from March 6, 2022. Versana today announced its plans to launch a leading-edge industry-backed syndicate loan platform joined together by banks, institutional lenders, and their service providers to bring transparency, efficiency, and velocity. And it's backed by Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citi, right? If we come over here to a digital asset document, this is directly from digitalasset.com, right? I.e. the people that created Canton Network. And look what it says right here. Canton. This is a document that was put out in 2025, so just last year, but it talks about how back in 2022, we undertook a deep exploration of the benefits of digitization across post-trade, starting with the ability of digital ledger to transform a set of largely sequential, high manual set of activities. The launch of individual applications like Broadridge's, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, HKEX, NASDAQ, TradeWeb, and Versana, right? Look at that right there. After years of talking about what could happen, we are now seeing change take place in real time, and momentum is accelerating. So this was mind blowing to me because the whole entire time we've been speculating, and since back in 2022, right? Even we've been speculating that all these other blockchains were doing some crazy stuff. Nobody was talking about Canton in 2022. Yet here they are sitting on this Versana platform as the underlying infrastructure that is backed by all these large ass institutions managing trillions of dollars. This is crazy information right here. It just goes to show how embedded in finance and traditional finance that Canton has been in for years now. Right. So that was just mind blowing to me. That was just a very interesting piece there. I was just looking up some of the information on the HSBC Orion debacle, and then I came across this Versana platform and dug a little bit deeper into that and realized that, they're using Canton. Crazy stuff, right? So that was interesting to me. And then I'll wrap it up here just to solidify, perspectives from industry leading experts that a lot of retail traders don't know about Canton. Look at one of the statistics in this document that just dropped like literally the other day, going over the entire Canton ecosystem and talking about the market sentiment around Canton. And it says right here, top 10 assets typically holds 5 to 15% of social volume. Just talking about the social volume around Canton. Mid-tier protocols ranked 50 to 100, average 2%. Canton sits below this threshold, indicating minimal retail awareness, despite its $5 billion market cap. Right? So, go ahead, Agua.
Yeah, we aware. We're trying to make others aware.
Crazy stuff. I mean, today's video breakdown is undeniable proof that Canton is not something to just play around with and should be paid attention to very closely.
Yeah.
Not financial advice.
You showed pure facts as well right now. This wasn't like, hey, maybe there's an NDA here and a bunch of speculation. No, you showed facts, proof, and connected dots like you usually do. So anybody who's fading this, I would suggest re-listening to this breakdown, because this is a wild breakdown. Yeah, Canton is not financial advice, but in my opinion, Canton is one of the chosen ones for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed writing this post this morning because I feel like a lot of the people from the XRP army who follow me, and because I've been covering Canton a lot lately, they're like, "Oh, well, now you cover Canton all the time," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know I cover Canton all the time because Ripple's used their technology twice. Pay attention."
Not to mention, David Schwartz himself on stage last year, I believe it was, said institution to institution transactions, well, that should be on a private ledger, not on the XRPL. So when you have David Schwartz himself saying something like that, I feel like, another thing too, I feel like Canton kind of goes over the heads of people because they don't really realize how important the privacy aspect is and what Canton Network has brought and made capable for these institutions. Everyone has thought, I think we've talked about this before, that, oh, well, crypto, it should be transparent and we should see everything and this, that, and the other thing. But that is not true at all when it comes to these institutions. So once that really starts hitting home for people and that seed starts to sprout, I feel like we're going to start seeing more and more people realize how big and major Canton really is.
Yeah, bro, it's an interesting time to be alive, and still an interesting time to get into this space before institutions flood in, because, I still hold the perspective that we're in a point in time where once we supersede, $6 trillion, $7 trillion market cap, we're never going to see a $2 trillion market cap ever again. I mean, this is a crazy, insane opportunity considering where we're at right now, that we just tapped into $2.5 trillion before institutions flood in at scale. So interesting time to be alive. That's all that I have for today's presentation. I know that Akko's got some family stuff to do today. I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, just go over some of these fundamental developments and just kind of give you guys a deeper perspective and understand that Canton, and a lot of people are going to start to talk about it soon, but understand that it's not some hype project that's just been like that popped up out of nowhere. It's been embedded in traditional financial infrastructure for years now, as I just showed you guys since, I mean, way before 2022, but I just thought that I'd show you guys some old fundamentals that flew underneath everybody's radar that, you know, if you found a fundamental piece back in 2022 in the midst of the, you know, let's say SEC lawsuit with Ripple and whatnot, and you found a fundamental piece involving Ripple and XRP and found out that all these institutions were using Ripple technology, it would have gotten all the attention, right? Well, here you guys have a fundamental piece that I'd say probably nobody, you probably could not find one person on the internet that covers Canton that has showed this connection between Versana 2022, how it sits on Canton, and how all these organizations use Versana, which just goes to show nobody's been paying attention to that, right? Not to say that people can't pay attention to these things, but it just goes to show how embedded Canton has been into the traditional financial background for some time now, and it's flown under a lot of people's radar. So, yeah, that's all that I have for you guys today.
Yeah, bro. Great breakdown, bro. Always crushing it. Putting dots together like no other, bro. So, yeah, great job, bro.
I still think that 33 freaking connection at the beginning of this is a gem, bro.
It definitely is, bro. I don't care what anybody says, bro. Call me crazy, call me a conspiracy tinfoil hat guy. I strongly feel that is not done by accident. And yeah, that ticker is, yeah, bro. Oh man.
like really think about the process, my G. Like, you know, like okay, first off, this list and this name was not put together like by some like AI random generator, you know? Like somebody like created this page of this website, right? You know?
Facts, bro. And I'm seeing it everywhere now too. I'm seeing the CFTC, the 33 and the CFTC. I'm starting to see 33 everywhere now.
Yeah, and I'm just like, how is that? There's no way, bro, that was just by accident. You know?
Yeah, bro.
I just don't see it as that. So it's interesting, man. But yeah, blessings to you guys. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Let's continue to stay positive. Let's continue to dig into good research that doesn't bring any bullish moon boy hopium or hype. I'm not sitting here telling you guys that Canton's going to go to the freaking moon or anything like that. I'm just showing you guys that it shouldn't be ignored at the end of the day. And I believe it is one of the projects that's going to survive long term once the institutions really truly flood in and start utilizing these blockchains at scale. I think Canton is going to be a leader just in general in the space when that really truly happens. I mean, it's already starting to happen, but I'm talking about like when this market cap in crypto goes from where it's at now to we really start to see huge numbers. I'm talking about 10 trillion plus. I think Canton is still going to be in the top 10, top 20 performing assets. Probably even top 5.
And lastly, before we get off here, I forget who you had said this, but somebody important said that the true utility projects that are actually getting utilized will end up being safe haven projects in crypto. Was that Yuval who said that, if I'm not mistaken, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Yuval, bro. I'm pretty sure it was Yuval off the top of my head.
I like that. And I can strongly see that as well.
I mean, I agree. There's going to be assets in crypto that survive that are just speculatively traded as just a tradable asset. And then there's going to be a certain onset of blockchains and cryptos that are actually used for their underlying utility.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Time will tell. I think we're about to find out here eventually.
I just think it's freaking crazy, bro, that people don't understand that Canton processes $6 trillion already, and it's less than $1.
Yeah, bro. That's the part that blows my mind too.
I
That's
think,
the and 6 trillion is more market cap than crypto as a whole right now.
yeah, I
So
think that when more people wake up and like, I understand that we're in like a little bit of a fear factor right now with the whole pullback that's happening, but I think that when more people really it clicks for them and they're like, oh shit, like Canton is not something to be like joked around about. Hasn't had enough social media attention yet. Once it
yeah,
has that amount of social media attention, which it's starting to pick up now, people are gonna, unfortunately, a lot of people are gonna FOMO into it
hmm
when it's already had its rally. But nonetheless, it's not one of them projects to be slept on underneath 50 cents.
yeah. I agree. I definitely agree. Well, it's going to be exciting to see how Canton's price action plays out the remainder of the year. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Blessings to you guys. Everybody take it easy. You guys have a good weekend, and we'll see you all next week.
Peace. Much love, everybody.